The silent kindness. The year was 2179. Earth was tired. Tired of wars, tired of hunger, tired of endless conflict between nations. The planet was broken, the skies gray with smoke and oceans filled with ruins of old machines. Humanity was losing hope. Then, without warning, the Seraphs arrived. They came from the stars with ships brighter than suns. Their vessels were smooth, silver, and silent. No weapons were seen. No threats were spoken. Instead, they offered kindness. They healed the sick with strange blue light. They gave food that never spoiled. They purified water with a single drop of glowing crystal. At first, humans celebrated. Crowds filled the streets, cheering as alien ships floated above the cities. Children waved flags. Soldiers lowered their weapons. For the first time in centuries, there was peace. The Seraphs spoke in calm voices, their language soft and warm. "We come as friends. We bring only peace." But peace carried shadows. Whispers began in quiet corners. People asked questions. Why are they so kind? What do they want in return? Some said no being in the universe gives without reason. Others feared that kindness was only the first step to control. Yet the Seraphs smiled, never angry, never demanding. They only gave more. Months passed. Cities grew clean. Hunger became rare. Diseases vanished. Earth looked like a paradise once more. But paradise felt strange. It was too easy, too perfect, and perfection made humans uneasy. One night in New Berlin, a mother searched for her son. He had been taken by Seraph healers for treatment of a simple fever. They promised he would return in hours. But he did not return that night, nor the next. When the mother asked where her child was, the Seraphs only said, "He is safe. He is learning." The mother screamed in the streets, crying that the Seraphs had stolen her child. Many ignored her at first. But soon more families came forward. A father missing his daughter, a sister missing her brother, all taken for care or teaching, and none returned. Fear spread like fire. Still, leaders told people to stay calm. The United Earth Council announced that the Seraphs were friends. They said the aliens had saved billions from hunger and disease. They told citizens not to believe in rumors. But even leaders felt unease in their hearts. In orbit, human pilots patrolled near Seraph ships. They noticed something odd. The alien vessels, though bright and peaceful, carried strange heat signatures. Some sections glowed with energy that looked like weapons, massive cannons hidden under smooth silver shells. When asked about it, the Seraphs answered gently, "You need not fear. These are only tools of defense." Admiral Reeve, commander of the human fleet, did not believe them. He had fought in wars all his life. He knew weapons when he saw them. "Kindness is never free," he told his officers. "If they bring food, they will soon take something greater. If they heal us, they will soon control us." But humanity was divided. Some loved the Seraphs, calling them saviors. Others feared them, calling them thieves in silver skin. Then came the night of silence. A group of satellites watching the skies near Mars suddenly went dark. No signal, no trace. When repair ships went to investigate, they found nothing but empty space, as if the satellites had been erased. The Seraphs denied involvement, but their ships were seen close to the area. Tension grew. Trust cracked. In a small village on Earth, a boy stared at the sky. A giant Seraph cruiser floated above, its lights bathing the night in silver glow. It looked like a star that had fallen from heaven. The boy whispered to his grandfather, "They look so beautiful." The old man shook his head. His voice was heavy, carrying the memory of wars past. "Beauty is a mask, child. Even roses grow thorns." The boy did not understand then, but his words echoed across the world. More and more humans began to believe. Kindness was only a mask, and so the seed of suspicion was planted. A seed that would grow into fire, into war, into the darkest truth of humankind. When kindness feels like a chain, humans break it with blood. For now, the Seraphs still smiled. For now, they still healed and gave. For now, the skies above Earth were calm and glowing. But in the hearts of men, silence was breaking, and soon that silence would turn into war. Doubt in the skies. The Seraphs had been on Earth for 2 years now. Their ships still hovered above the skies like silver guardians. They gave food, medicine, and energy that never ran out. They smiled at every question, answered every doubt with gentle words. Yet the whispers had grown louder. Humanity no longer saw only kindness. They saw something hidden behind the smiles. In the great halls of the United Earth Council, leaders argued in secret. President Ilara spoke with tired eyes, her voice sharp. The people are asking questions. Too many questions. Where are the children? Why do their ships carry weapons? Her generals nodded. They had seen things the public had not. Seraph fleets patrolling silently near asteroid belts. Seraph cruisers blocking human exploration ships without warning. Always polite, always calm, yet always in control. Admiral Reeve stood tall at the meeting table. His uniform carried scars of old battles, metal shining like cold stars. I tell you this, peace is only their mask. I have scanned their ships. I have seen their energy cores. Those are not engines alone. Those are weapons. Heavy weapons. Some council members gasped, but others shook their heads. And what if you are wrong, Admiral? One asked. What if they truly are here only for peace? Do you wish to start another war after we finally ended our own? Reeve's eyes burned. It is better to face war on our feet than slavery on our knees. The council grew silent. Outside, in the streets, doubt was also rising. Protesters marched holding signs that read, "Where are our children?" and "No kindness without truth." Others shouted the opposite, "The Seraphs saved us," and "Trust our guardians." Earth was divided. Meanwhile, the Seraphs continued their quiet work. They built great towers that stretched into the sky, claiming they were communication beacons. They installed shimmering gates above oceans, calling them weather controllers, but no one knew exactly how they worked. No human was allowed inside. The rebel group known as the Iron Dawn had formed in secret. Made of ex-soldiers, engineers, and ordinary citizens, they refused to trust the aliens. They hacked into communication lines, spreading messages. The Seraphs are preparing to rule us. They are not saviors. They are overlords. One night, a broadcast interrupted every screen on Earth. A masked figure, voice deep and metallic, spoke. The Seraphs lie. We have proof of their hidden weapons. We have proof they are taking our children to train them as slaves. Humanity must rise before it is too late. Trust not their kindness, trust only in our strength. The government tried to shut the message down, but it was too late. The seed of doubt had grown into fire. In orbit, things grew tense. A human scout ship named Horizon was ordered to patrol near Mars. Its captain, young Commander Silva, sent a calm message as his ship approached a Seraph patrol zone. We come in peace. We only observe. The Seraph response came at once, soft as always. Do not enter this sector. It is for your safety. Please turn back, but Silva was bold. He pressed forward, ignoring the warning. His last words to his crew were, "If they are truly peaceful, they will not fire." Moments later, the Horizon was gone. A silent flash lit the darkness of space, and the ship was erased from existence. No wreckage, no survivors, only silence. The Seraphs announced it was an accident, an energy malfunction. They said they regretted the loss. But humanity did not believe them. The Iron Dawn spread the news faster than fire in dry fields. The Seraphs killed our people. They have shown their true face. Riots broke out on Earth, cities burned with anger. Some people attacked Seraph aid stations, throwing stones at the silver figures. For the first time, Seraphs pulled back their healers and food givers. Their kindness shrank. Their smiles faded. Admiral Reeve stood at the balcony of Earth's orbital fleet command, staring at the stars. Behind him, rows of human warships waited. Old battleships repaired, new destroyers built in secret. They think we are weak, he whispered. They think we have forgotten war. They will learn how wrong they are. That night, the council met again. Fear filled the chamber. President Ilara looked at Reeve. Do you believe war is coming? Reeve did not hesitate. War has already begun. The question is only this: will we fight it, or will we wait for them to strike again? Outside the window, the silver glow of Seraph ships covered the horizon like a blanket. Beautiful, silent, watching, and in every human heart, doubt turned into resolve. Soon the skies would no longer hold kindness. They would hold fire. The first spark, the destruction of the human scout ship Horizon, spread across Earth like wildfire. News screens replayed the silent flash again and again. A ship erased in seconds, no debris, no answers. The Seraphs insisted it was an accident. Their voices were calm, their faces unchanged. The human ship crossed into unstable energy fields. We regret the loss. We only wish to protect them. But no one believed. On the streets, grief turned into rage. Families cried for their lost sons and daughters. Protesters filled the cities. Rocks smashed against Seraph aid stations. Silver healers, once welcomed as saviors, now fled under the protection of their glowing ships. The Iron Dawn seized the moment. Their voice roared across hacked networks. The Seraphs have killed us. The Seraphs have lied. Kindness was only their mask. Now we must tear it off. Humanity must rise. The world was divided, but the fire was spreading. Every nation prepared for defense. Every fleet readied its guns. Admiral Reeves stood at the command deck of the Earth orbital base. Around him, massive windows revealed the black void, dotted with stars and the silver glow of Seraph ships. He clenched his fists. They think we will kneel. They think we will fear. They are wrong. The time of silence is over. His officers nodded, their eyes sharp with the old fire of war. Humanity had not fought among itself for years, but the memory of war was carved into their bones. Then the spark came. A human mining colony on Phobos, one of Mars's moons, reported strange activity. Seraph patrol ships circled the colony, blocking supply routes. When miners tried to launch their transport vessels, the Seraphs ordered them back. For your safety, the Seraphs said. Do not leave this zone. The miners resisted. They sent desperate calls to Earth. They are trapping us. They are not letting us leave. They say it is protection, but it feels like a cage. The council debated, torn between caution and fury, but Reeve did not wait. He sent the warship Valor to escort the miners' transports. The Valor arrived in the red orbit of Mars. Captain Dorian Silva, brother of the Lost Horizon commander, led the crew. His voice was cold with grief. This is the Valor. The miners will leave. Do not interfere. The Seraph ships replied in their usual soft tone. Do not advance. This area is unstable. Please turn back, but Dorian would not. His ship pushed forward, engines blazing, escorting the transports. The Seraphs moved to block. For long minutes, the two sides faced each other, human guns locked on alien hulls, alien ships glowing with silent power. Then, one small detail changed everything. A Seraph cruiser released a sudden burst of light. Perhaps it was only a signal flare. Perhaps it was a mistake. But to humans, it looked like a weapon charging. Captain Dorian's voice echoed through the fleet. Fire. The first human missiles streaked through the void. They struck the silver hull of the Seraph cruiser, tearing metal and light apart. The alien ship split in two, glowing shards drifting into the blackness. Silence lasted for only seconds. Then space erupted. Seraph ships unleashed beams of pure energy, white-hot and blinding. Human destroyers returned fire, launching railgun rounds that shook the void. Explosions painted the sky above Mars red and gold. The miners watched from below, eyes wide with fear and awe. Humanity had fired the first true shot. The first spark had become a firestorm. In orbit around Earth, alarms filled the command deck. Reports poured in. The Valor is engaged. The Seraph fleet is answering. Casualties rising. Admiral Reeves' face was stone. So it begins, he whispered. The battle near Mars raged for hours. Human ships fought with fury, reckless and wild. Seraph ships fought with calm precision, their beams slicing through steel like paper. But humans did not retreat. They refused to bow. At last the Seraphs withdrew, pulling their surviving cruisers away. Humanity had won the field, though at a heavy cost. 3 destroyers lost, hundreds dead, yet victory burned bright in human hearts. Across Earth, people cheered in the streets. We stood, we fought, we are free. The Iron Dawn spread the news as triumph. The mask is broken. The war has begun, but not everyone celebrated. Some wept for the dead. Some whispered that war would destroy them all. And in the quiet halls of Seraph Command, the alien leaders spoke words humanity would never hear. We came with peace. We came with hope. But they choose war. Then war shall be. Back on Earth, President Ilara stood before the council. Her voice shook with both fear and fire. There is no going back. The first spark is lit. War is upon us. And above her, the night sky glowed with alien ships, silent and waiting. The silence of kindness was over. The roar of war had begun. Fire in the void. The news of victory at Mars spread across Earth like a storm. Humans cheered in the streets. They celebrated the first true strike against the Seraphs. They called it justice, revenge, even destiny. For the first time in generations, Humanity stood united, not for peace, not for survival, but for war. Admiral Reeve stood in the command deck of the orbital fleet base, staring at the glowing maps of space. Dots of light marked Seraph ships moving silently across the system. He saw them everywhere, near Mars, near Jupiter, near the asteroid belts. Watching, waiting. "They are calm," Reeve said, his voice low. "But calm is not weakness. They are preparing." His second-in-command, Commander Harlow, frowned. "And us, Admiral? What are we preparing for?" Reeve's eyes burned. "Fire. If kindness was their mask, war will be our reply." The first full-scale battle began near the asteroid belt. Human fleets were sent to escort mining convoys. The Seraphs arrived in silence, their ships gleaming silver against the black void. They gave the same warning they always gave. Do not advance. For your safety, turn back. But humanity had changed. No one turned back. The fleet commander, Admiral Dorian Silva, brother of the fallen Horizon captain, gave a simple order. "We do not retreat." Open-fire missiles tore across the void. Dozens of human warships unleashed a storm of firepower. Railguns, plasma torpedoes, ion bursts. Explosions lit the darkness, flashing red and gold. For a moment it looked like victory. Seraph ships shook under the attack, their silver hulls cracking, pieces spinning into the endless night. Humans cheered on their comms. But then, the Seraphs answered. From the glowing cores of their ships, beams of white energy cut through the dark. They did not fire wildly. They fired with precision, each strike erasing a human vessel in silence. One beam sliced a destroyer in half, leaving its crew drifting into the void. Another cut through 3 frigates in a single shot. The cheers of humans turned into screams. Still, they did not retreat. Humanity's strength was never precision, it was fury. The ships of Earth charged forward, closing the distance, ignoring the risk. Boarding pods launched from human cruisers, slamming against Seraph hulls. Soldiers in black armor cut their way inside with fire and steel. For the first time, the Seraphs faced human rage up close. Inside one alien cruiser, Sergeant Arrogance led his squad through glowing silver corridors. The air was too clean, too cold. Seraph figures appeared, tall and graceful, speaking in calm voices. "Stop this. There is no need for blood." Kane raised his rifle and fired. Plasma bolts ripped through silver armor. The Seraphs fell without even lifting a weapon. Their kindness, their calm, their patience, it meant nothing inside the storm of war. Across the battlefield, humans used brutal tactics the Seraphs had never faced before. They rammed smaller ships into larger ones. They sacrificed damaged cruisers as living bombs, detonating reactors to take Seraph vessels with them. It was chaos, it was savage, but it worked. By the end of the battle, the asteroid field was burning. Fragments of ships drifted in silence, glowing like dying stars. Human losses were heavy, too heavy. Dozens of ships gone, thousands dead. But when the smoke cleared, the Seraph fleet was gone. Admiral Dorian Silva's voice crackled over the comms. "We held the field. The void belongs to us today." On Earth, the news was celebrated as a great victory. Crowds filled the streets again, waving flags, singing songs of defiance. Children drew pictures of human warships standing tall against silver giants. The Iron Dawn broadcast across every channel. "See? They can bleed. They can fall. Humanity is strong. Humanity will never bow." But in the quiet rooms of power, leaders did not celebrate. President Alara sat with her advisors, her face pale. "Thousands dead," she whispered. "Is this victory? Or is this only the beginning of our destruction?" No one answered her. Far from Earth, in the cold dark near Saturn, the Seraph Council gathered aboard their great flagship. Their voices were soft, but their words were heavy. "We gave them peace," one said. "We gave them life," said another. "And they gave us war." The eldest Seraph spoke last. His silver eyes dimmed with sorrow. "We tried to heal them, but perhaps they were never meant to be healed. If humanity only understands war, then war they shall have." Back at Earth's fleet base, Admiral Reeve stood before his officers. His voice carried across the hall, steady and sharp. "They are strong, smarter, older, but they do not know what we are. They do not know what humans become when fire consumes the void. We will not beg. We will not kneel. From this day, let the stars remember. When kindness felt like chains, humanity answered with war." His officers slammed their fists against their chests, the old salute of forgotten armies. The sound echoed through the steel halls like thunder. Outside the windows, shipyards glowed as new warships rose into orbit. Destroyers, cruisers, dreadnoughts. Born not for peace, but for vengeance. The void had seen its first fire. It would not be the last. War becomes the answer. The asteroid belt burned for months. Fragments of shattered ships drifted like ghosts. Some still carried frozen bodies locked in silence. Others carried only wreckage and fire. Humanity had called it a victory, but victory carried a heavy cost. On Earth, the mourning of the dead turned into anger. Families wept, then raised their fists. Politicians gave speeches, their voices sharp with fury. The Seraphs said they came in peace. They lied. The Seraphs said they wished to heal. They killed. We will not forgive. We will not forget. Every screen, every radio, every broadcast repeated the same words. War has come. Admiral Reeve stood on the balcony of the Orbital Fleet Command, watching shipyards glow across Earth's orbit. Once, those shipyards had built trade vessels and peaceful cruisers. Now they built warships. Gigantic frames of steel floated like skeletons, waiting to be armed with railguns and plasma cannons. Every day new hulls were born. Every day humanity grew sharper, harder, deadlier. In the great halls of government, President Ilara made the final announcement. Her face was pale, but her voice was firm. We offered trust. We received betrayal. We offered peace. We received destruction. From this day forward, Earth stands united not in peace but in war. Our kindness is ended. War is our answer. The people cheered. Factories came alive across continents. Old industries once shut down roared again with fire and smoke. Children sang war songs in the streets. Young men and women rushed to join the fleets, their eyes burning with pride. Humanity, broken for centuries, had found unity again, through war. But the Seraphs were not silent. Their ships still hovered above cities, glowing silver against the night sky. Their voices still came soft and calm through the air. We do not wish this war. You are making a mistake. Violence will destroy you, but humans no longer listened. They saw every word as a trick, every smile as a mask. To them, the Seraphs were not saviors. They were predators pretending to be angels. The Iron Dawn rebels spread their message even louder. Holograms lit city walls with their symbol, a burning star over crossed swords. Do not believe the Seraphs. Do not fall for their lies. If you fight, you live. If you bow, you die. For some, doubt remained. Priests prayed in ruined churches, begging people to see peace. Mothers begged their sons not to go to war. But their voices were drowned by the sound of factories, the roar of fleets, the cheers of crowds. Humanity had chosen. The first test of the new fleets came near Europa, a frozen moon of Jupiter. Human warships escorted a convoy of supply vessels carrying weapons and ore. Seraph ships appeared again, blocking the way, their voices soft as ever. This zone is unsafe. Please turn back. But humans no longer gave warnings. Admiral Dorian Silva commanded the fleet. His orders were simple. Push through. No negotiations, the battle was brutal. Human dreadnoughts unleashed storms of missiles. Railguns thundered across the void. The Seraphs struck back with precision beams, cutting through ships like paper. Yet this time humans had numbers, speed, and fury. One Seraph cruiser fell, then another. A human destroyer rammed into a silver frigate, both ships exploding in white fire. Boarding pods struck alien hulls again, and soldiers stormed through silver corridors, tearing down everything in their path. By the end of the battle, the convoy had passed. The Seraphs had retreated again. Humanity called it another victory, but the losses were heavy. More warships burned, more names were carved into the walls of memory, and still, Earth cheered. Back on Earth, Admiral Reeve walked through the shipyards. He ran his hand across the steel frame of a new dreadnought, so large it blocked out the stars. He spoke softly to the engineers. Bigger, stronger, they must fear our fire. The engineers saluted. They understood. Every ship now carried more guns, more armor, more firepower. If the Seraphs had calm precision, humans would answer with overwhelming force. In the hidden chambers of the Seraph flagship, their council met again. They were not angry. Their voices were sorrowful. They burn with hate, one said. They do not see our kindness, said another. The eldest Seraph whispered. We tried to save them from themselves. But perhaps humans are not meant to be saved. And then, for the first time, the Seraphs armed their fleets fully. Their silent kindness was ending too. On Earth, President Ilara gave her final words to the world. There is no turning back. We are at war. We will fight not for peace, but for survival. We will fight not with kindness, but with fire. The Seraphs gave us gifts, but we return to them only war. Humanity will rise or humanity will fall, but never again will humanity bow. The people roared with approval, and in the black skies above, thousands of human ships lit their engines. The void trembled with fire, with steel, with the rage of an entire species. Kindness was dead. War had become the answer. Blood and steel, the war had spread across the solar system. Battles blazed near asteroid fields, around icy moons, and in the orbit of dead planets. Every week new ships rose from Earth's shipyards. Every week more names were carved into the lists of the dead. At first humanity called each clash a victory. Even when ships were lost, even when thousands died, people cheered. They saw the Seraphs retreat and believed the war could be won. They believed the Seraphs were breaking. But belief is not the same as truth. The turning point came near Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Human fleets were ordered to secure the region, building a forward base to strike deeper into Seraph territory. Admiral Reeve himself took command of the operation. His fleet was the largest humanity had ever launched. 50 destroyers, 20 cruisers, and 3 new dreadnoughts, each the size of a floating city. Soldiers filled the halls, engineers loaded torpedoes, and pilots prepared for battle. Spirits were high. We have the numbers, one officer said proudly. We have the firepower, another added. Reeve listened but said nothing. He stared at the star map, watching the silver dots of Seraph ships gathering around Titan. He felt something the younger officers did not feel. Unease. They are waiting for us, he muttered. And they are ready. The fleet entered Titan's orbit. At first silence. The moon's golden haze hung below, its surface frozen and lifeless. Then the Seraphs appeared. Dozens of silver ships drifted from the shadows, their hulls glowing faintly. They did not fire. They did not speak. They simply moved into formation, surrounding the human fleet like hunters circling prey. Admiral Reeve gave the order. Open fire. The void lit up with fury. Human cannons roared. Missiles streaked forward, tearing through the black. Railguns thundered, spitting molten steel. Explosions ripped across the Seraph line, breaking their formation. Human crews shouted in triumph. For a moment, it looked like another victory. Then, the Seraphs answered. Their ships pulsed with blinding light. Shields unfolded across their hulls, glowing barriers of energy that had never been seen before. Missiles exploded harmlessly against them. Railgun rounds bounced away like pebbles. Human firepower became useless in seconds. Then came the counterstrike. White beams cut through the darkness, sharp and precise. One dreadnought was split down the middle, its pieces falling toward Titan's surface like burning stars. A cruiser tried to shield it but was sliced apart in a single strike. Chaos erupted. Shields are holding nothing, one captain cried over comms. We can't break through, shouted another. Human fleets tried to adapt. Destroyers charged forward, firing at close range. Boarding pods launched, desperate to storm the alien ships. But the Seraphs had prepared for this too. Their corridors, once undefended, now blazed with automated weapons. Human squads were torn apart before they reached the reactor cores. Sergeant Auric Kane, who had once stormed a Seraph cruiser with ease, now watched his men fall in seconds. He shouted into his comms, "It's a trap!" They were never weak, they let us win before. They let us believe. But his warning came too late. The battle became slaughter. Human ships exploded one after another. The sky around Titan turned into a graveyard of fire and metal. Crews screamed as their hulls cracked. Escape pods launched, but Seraph beams cut them down without mercy. For the first time, humanity tasted defeat. Not a narrow loss, but complete destruction. Admiral Reeve's dreadnought Iron Will fought to the last. Surrounded on all sides, it fired every missile, every cannon until the hull was torn apart. As the bridge shook and flames consumed the steel, Reeve gave his final order. To every surviving ship, retreat, live, fight another day. His voice was steady even as the walls fell around him. The last transmission of Admiral Reeve carried across the fleet. Remember this. Blood and steel are what make us human. Not kindness, not fear. Blood and steel. Moments later, the Iron Will was gone. The survivors fled back toward Earth, broken and silent. Of 50 destroyers, only 12 returned. Of 20 cruisers, only 5. The dreadnoughts all lost. Tens of thousands of lives were gone in a single battle. On Earth, the news spread quickly. Crowds who once cheered now wept. Streets once filled with pride were heavy with mourning. But sorrow soon turned into anger. The Iron Dawn seized the moment. See their power. See their lies. They never wanted peace. They only wanted us weak. But we will rise again. We will fight harder. We will build stronger. Factories doubled their efforts. Recruitment lines stretched for miles. Humanity refused to break even in defeat. But the Seraphs had made their message clear. Their kindness was finished. Their patience was gone. Now they fought with full strength. And humanity, for all its rage, had learned a terrible truth. The enemy they faced was not merciful, not weak, not fragile. The Seraphs were powerful beyond imagination. The war was no longer a question of pride. It was a question of survival. Above the ashes of Titan, Seraph ships floated in silence. The alien commanders spoke in their sorrowful tones. We warned them. We begged them. And still they choose war. Their silver eyes dimmed. Then war shall consume them. The turning tide Titan had become a graveyard. Fragments of human ships still drifted in its orbit. Silent reminders of Admiral Reeves' last stand. The Seraphs had won that day, but victory carried whispers. Humanity was not finished. Humanity would never be finished. From the ashes of defeat came hunger, not for peace, but for answers. Admiral Reeves' sacrifice had not been in vain. Before his ship was destroyed, his scouts had scanned Titan's surface. Buried under its icy crust was something strange. Structures too smooth, too precise to be natural. The data survived. And when the survivors returned to Earth, they brought more than grief. They brought a secret. At the War Council, President Ilara stood over the star map. Generals, captains, and scientists gathered around. Commander Harlow spoke first. Titan is not only a battlefield. Our scans confirm artificial constructs beneath the ice. Seraph constructs. The room fell silent. Ilara's voice trembled. A base? Yes, Harlow said grimly. A hidden base. The Seraphs have been using Titan for more than patrols. It is their heart inside our system. The word spread across Earth like fire. The Iron Dawn broadcast it across every channel. The Seraphs build secret prisons beneath Titan. They hide their truth in the shadows. Do you see now? They never came for peace. They came to control us. Whether the story was true or twisted, it no longer mattered. Humanity believed, and belief had become its greatest weapon. A massive fleet was assembled, the largest yet. Not to defend, not to escort, but to strike. Earth declared it openly. Titan must fall. If we are to live, their heart must be destroyed. Soldiers whispered Reeves' name as they boarded ships. Engineers painted slogans on hulls. For Earth. For Reeve. For the lost. Among them was Sergeant Arik Kane, scarred from the Titan defeat. He tightened the straps of his armor, speaking to his squad. This time we don't fight in the void. This time we dig into their den. Remember, blood and steel. That is who we are. The fleet reached Titan in silence. This time the Seraphs did not wait in orbit. Their ships were fewer, scattered as if they were pulling back. Suspicion filled the humans, but their orders were clear. Strike fast. Strike hard. Dreadnoughts unleashed fire against the icy surface. Explosions shook the golden haze of Titan's sky. Cracks split the frozen crust, revealing massive silver doors beneath, hidden hangars carved into the moon itself. When the doors opened, the truth was revealed. Seraph war machines rose from beneath Titan, colossal carriers, larger than any human dreadnought. Their hulls glowed with strange symbols. Their energy shields shimmered like waves of light. And alongside them floated smaller vessels, hundreds of drones, sleek and sharp, moving with terrifying precision. The Seraphs had not been unprepared. They had been waiting. The battle erupted. Human fleets poured fire into the sky, missiles screaming across the void. Seraph carriers answered with endless waves of drones, swarming human destroyers like hornets. Railguns thundered, explosions lit Titan's orbit, but the numbers were overwhelming. Inside the chaos, boarding pods slammed into the moon's surface. Arik Kane and his squad stormed into the tunnels beneath the ice. The halls glowed silver, filled with humming energy. They fought through automated defenses, cutting down machines that moved faster than men. Then, deep inside the base, they found something that froze their blood. Rows of chambers, filled with humans, children, men, women, all asleep, sealed in crystal-like pods, alive but dreaming. One soldier whispered, trembling, "Prisoners. They took them." But a seraph voice echoed through the chamber, calm and heavy with sorrow. "Not prisoners, protectees. We kept them safe. We kept them from you." A seraph figure stepped forward, silver eyes glowing. "Your kind burns everything it touches. We took them to preserve what little innocence you had left." The soldiers raised their weapons, fury in their eyes. They did not listen. To them the words were poison. To them the pods were proof of seraph lies. Arik Kane shouted, "Enough! We end this now!" and fired. Plasma tore through the chamber. The seraph fell. The pods shattered. Chaos filled the room as alarms screamed. In orbit, the battle raged on. Human dreadnoughts pushed through the drone swarms, sacrificing themselves to reach the great carriers. One by one, the seraph giants fell, torn apart by missiles and ramming attacks. Titan shook with explosions as fire rained down upon its frozen plains. But the cost was terrible. Half the human fleet was gone. Entire squadrons erased. The battlefield was victory and graveyard at the same time. When the smoke cleared, the Titan base burned. The Seraphs had lost their hidden stronghold. Humanity called it triumph. Yet those who had seen the pods whispered in private, were the Seraphs truly captors or guardians? Were the missing children slaves, or were they being sheltered? The truth was buried under fire, lost to anger. Back on Earth, the people did not ask questions. They only celebrated. Titan had fallen. Humanity had struck at the Seraph heart and lived to tell the tale. The Iron Dawn declared, "We are no longer prey. We are the hunters. Let every star burn with our fire." But in the ruins of Titan, silver shadows still stirred. The Seraph Council, though wounded, still stood. And now their sorrow was gone. What remained was resolve. "They chose war," the eldest Seraph said coldly. "Then we shall give them war beyond their imagining." The turning tide had come, and the tide was crimson.